Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Good morning, Algo artisans. It's nice and early, so I'm adding in a pre-market analysis. I've decided I'm going to spend a bit more time trading these days, and I'm going to let everybody ride along with me. So, being as this is not a show that's normally on the schedule, I imagine that not a lot of you are watching this live. But if you are catching this, go ahead and start tuning in, because Forex trading has been pretty consistent. It's been consistent for me for a long time. I don't mind answering questions about crypto charts or anything like that. And I will trade crypto here and there, but I have found that my success rate in trading Forex is much higher. And I have a way that I trade Forex and I put it into crypto gains, right? Let's see here. So that's what I do. Now, I do my trading algorithmically, and so it's pretty simple. I don't have to know how to code or anything like that. All the data that I need is on the screen. I do have algos coded, so if you look at the screen, you can see. Let's see if I open up the right screen here. Give me 1 second. So you see these little, like this mini long right there, or if you go back, oh, what did I just do? This red tab that you see right here says to go short. Obviously, it's a pretty good algo, and I can use that to trade, and I have been incorporating it into a much larger picture of trading, and I do so on a low time frame. It's a day trading time frame, so whether it be the 5-minute or the 1-minute, I have been trading that way lately, and so just having some fair amount of success. So I'm actually doing this live, and if you're an Algo Factory member, I will actually share what I'm doing as I enter the trade. I'll share my stop loss, I'll share my targets, I'll share my entry. If you're watching this and you're not a member, then you get to see the basic idea of when I'm going to get in. I don't share all the trade data because that's just for our private clients only. But suffice it to say, the data is pretty awesome and important. Now, you're not to be following my trades, which is why I don't share all the data. And the Algo Factory members know that, they're not to follow the trades. They have to use their own data. But when I share data, it allows them to see what I'm doing. It allows them to learn. So let's go ahead and jump into the charts. And let's take a brief look here. We'll start with the EUR/USD. I did just, before I went live, made a nice little short right here. I just grabbed, like a steak dinner. It was just like a 5-10 minute trade right there. Just a quick little scalp. You can see that my algo did say to enter right here. And it was pretty much at the same time as I was already going to enter. So I could treat that as like a confirmation, if you will. So pretty good stuff there. Looks like it may continue down a bit. Let's take a look at the rest of the screen here. It's real touch and go, this one. So the market, first of all, this is a Friday. So Fridays tend not to be quite as profitable for this type of trading here. I'm going to change this over to this one here. Yep. Okay. Get a little more granular data on this one. Now, I don't trade on the 10-second chart. I use it just for, you could say, data gathering. But I don't trade on the 10-second chart. I tend to trade on the 1-minute or the 5-minute chart, right? And what's going on with the euro is that if you look at a higher time frame, like say the daily, let me even flex this out to where you can see the weekly. So the weekly's got a bit of bearishness on it, right? So what I do is I tend to look at the high time frame to see what the general trend is. The trend is bullish, but it's pulling back. So high time frame, it's kind of bullish, but it's starting to flip around, start to become bearish, which usually means if it's in the middle of flipping, it's going to range. So when you're in a range with a bearish kind of a tint to it, you probably want to look for shorts. So you look for price to head down, you grab that short, right? And then when it's done, when it hits some structure, whenever the algos say to get out of the short, I get out of the short. So right now, things are pretty quiet. It is a Friday. But if you look here at the 3-hour, which is a swing trading time frame, you'll see the price is creating a sort of a range. Price is bouncing back and forth between these areas right here. Okay. So when you see something like this and price is overall bearish, what I look for are pullbacks on a lower time frame, pullbacks to the upside, and then short again. So what I can do here, you see how price was headed down, pulled back real nice like this, and then I grabbed this short like just a few minutes ago and wrote it down. Now it's on the 30-minute, and it's actually heading back down again. I don't know if I can take this short. It might be too late because I, came on to do the show. But it does appear, what I think is actually going to happen here, if you look at the 5-minute chart, it's headed down. I grabbed this short right here, right? Is this the 5-minute chart? This is the 1-minute chart. No, it's 5. So I grabbed the short, actually, right here. From about here to here, I grabbed that. It's continuing down, and it may do so. But what's probably going to happen, let's take a brief look at the algos here. So that's a 5-minute. Yeah, there's a decent chance it could continue down, but I do think before it does so, structurally, if you look at just the price action, you can see how price rejected right here. What I mean by that is that price broke downward right here, came back up. It hit a structure point. Well, there are a few different structure points, and structure happens where price pivoted before. So we're going to talk about that. I'm just going to share the link around. Give me 1 second. I didn't really share the link around. There's not as many people watching right now. So let me do that because I want more people to see this. This is a great opportunity to learn some day trading. This is probably going to pop up right here. And then if things are still bearish, I can catch that short and you all can watch me do it. I'm just going to do this. Let's see here. Okay. There we go. Good. Shared the link there. Got a few places I go when I do some talks here and there. I figured I'll just tell everybody I'm on. And no one's expecting me to be on because this is kind of a new section of the show. So while we're waiting for this to pop up, you see it's starting to pop up right now. You can see this green candle. And I did say it probably would pop up. And literally, as I'm saying it, it's starting to pop up. But we might see an opportunity to go short. And this is on a very low time frame. This is day trading. It even could be considered scalping. We're just going to see how it forms up. We're going to see if the conditions remain amenable to grab that short, because they may not. It might flip around on you. So it's good. We got a few more people watching, and I'm going to just send these links out where I usually do. Okay. Links are sent out. So let's go ahead. Go ahead and take a look at the broader picture here. Yeah, see it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's at a precarious time. So we could see it actually continue down right now, and the move down at this point, it's a little bit on the low time frame for my taste. This move, let me zoom in here to the 1-minute chart here. This move's a bit extended. Like if I were in this trade still, because I got out, if I were in this trade still, I might be willing to kind of ride it out a little bit longer. But it's when you have a move that's this many candles in a row where it hasn't really you get a little pullback here, but when you let me zoom in so that you can see it a little bit better out in YouTube land here. See, price is extending down, and when you have a big extension down, you start to run into what's called structure, where price has been pivoting back and forth. Now, a big important structure moment where price pivoted back and forth in a key manner. Where's my arrow up? There's a specific here. that, and that. There's a good chance price is going to come down there and bounce, right? It might have bounced here. It didn't. It continued to push. So right now it's showing that there is a fair amount of bearishness, which is great because when we do finally get into the short, which might happen in 5 minutes, might happen in 30, it should continue down. Now, today is going to be a bit abbreviated when it comes to trading, and that is because we have some news coming out, right? And that news comes out at 10 a.m. EST, and what is that? In about 2 hours and 10 minutes. So what I'm looking for here, and a lot of what I'm looking for is on the algos on the bottom of the screen, but it's going to probably happen pretty soon here. We'll see. Oops. Let's see here. Yeah. Let me just pay attention to the 1 minute chart here. It may or may not happen, but there's a good chance we're going to see, like I said, price kind of head down here and maybe not even go this deep. And then it should start to pop up here. Now, if it does that, I'm going to look for price to come back up here maybe and take that short. And this, folks, is day trading, right? So when you're doing a higher time frame trade, what you're doing is exactly what I'm doing here, but you're looking at things that take like several hours or several days even to form up. So imagine doing this, but you don't have to sit and watch it. Well, that's swing trading, right? So all these movements, they look the same on a higher time frame, but they move like a clock, very slow, like a watch, like the hands of a clock. So you can kind of wake up in the morning and you can be like, hey, well, I see that this might happen in 2 days, right? So you come back after work and you watch it. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's starting to get closer. And the next morning you get up and say, hey, I think it's going to happen. And then because you think it's going to happen, you set up a trade that will automatically take place, right? It's you set up all your orders so that you don't have to be there for them to happen, to enter, to exit, and to protect your capital, your stop loss. And then that way, what you can do is on Sunday, you get up and you have your breakfast and you go about your day. And as the market opens in the afternoon, you spend maybe an hour taking a look at what that market open looks like, taking a look at what trades might be going down, right? And then once you've done that, then you can either set up your trades if you think that's a good idea, or you can come back, usually not on a Monday. It's usually going to be on like a Tuesday, but you can kind of watch every day. Just watching, just reading some articles here. I'm going to look into that article that someone just sent me right now. And you can set up your trade, even if it's on a Monday, whatever, in the morning. It's 15 minutes in the morning. If your trades are forming up, set them up. If they're not, come back after work. 15 minutes in the evening, trades are forming up, set them up. And all that stuff happens while you're not watching, right? So people who have like a 9 to 5 can do that swing trading. People such as myself who might be, either running a business or two, have the capability to watch the screen for a few hours a day, usually 5 to 8 hours, depending on the way you do things. I'm up super early. I look at the pre-market. If there's big news, like Tuesday and Thursday, we had CPI, PPI, I don't get up so early. I'll get up, I'll look at things, but not at my usual early time. But if there's no big news that's super early, like an hour before the market open, then I'm up pretty early. I'm grabbing trades on the New York London crossover, like I grabbed this morning. I already made a nice little bit of profit here. And then I'm looking for the next setup. And I'm just patiently watching to see it happen, right? Interesting. So again, we're not going to willy-nilly jump into a trade. I could have held this trade, but my algo said not to, right? You see, this is continuing down. So what might end up happening here, rather than what we were just talking about, rather than a bounce, we might actually end up with a continuation down. And that's fine too. You just wait for it to continue down and you grab the trade. So let's just say instead of bouncing right here and then grabbing this move down, what might end up happening is the price actually breaks through, and I can either grab it on the breakthrough, or I can look for a pullback and grab that trade and ride that down further, right? For those of you who are new, very new to trading, you can win money up or down. You can go long or short with Forex, right? Because you're just betting currencies against each other. In this case, the euro versus the US dollar. So if the euro is going down, it might actually mean that the dollar is going up. So if I'm betting short on the euro, it means I'm getting out of euros and into dollars. You see? It's all very, you know, it's just done in a way that makes it easy to do. Is your base currency is going to be wherever you are. My base currency is in dollars. But as soon as I get into trade, I can essentially translate that into jumping out of euros and into dollars and experiencing that gain. So, and Forex, I think, is the best market for a newer person. I think it's easier to definitely, most markets are easier to trade than crypto. Most, most like contract-based markets, whether you're trading the NASDAQ or, the Dow futures, NASDAQ futures, like any futures market is going to be, in my opinion, easier to trade than crypto. Forex is great though, because you can do a lot of damage with very little money. This is a massive market. Forex is $1 trillion a day market. I'm sorry, $7 trillion a day market. And the reason Forex has that much liquidity is because you have a bunch of companies who have billions and trillions of dollars in their Forex reserves. And they use that money to pay for vendors. They use that money to pay for their employees. And when you have that much money sitting in reserve, if the euro is going up and the dollar is going down, even if it's just 1% or even a 0.5% in a day, if you just move your FX reserves over to the euro that day, well, I mean, what's a 0.5% of $500 billion? That's like, what is that, 2.5 million or something? I mean, it's a pretty big deal. So we're now seeing the bounce. Now the way that I trade, I can't necessarily take that bounce. I mean, I could, but it's just too risky for me. So again, we're starting to see the move up, and it's we're just going to watch it. And at some point, it's probably going to push back down because the higher time frames are relatively bearish. It's kind of at a tipping point, to be honest. So again, looking for this move up. It might only complete right here, but it's coming up, as I said, and it's coming up pretty much where I said it would. It grabbed liquidity in this area. We're now getting the pullback. So I'm going to go to the algo screen. It's going to be kind of hard to see this for anybody out there in YouTube land. But I will make this a little easier to see. Let's go to a 4 panel. That's a 5 panel. I will go to a 4 panel. So these are all separated by time frame. The reason the screen looks like it does is because in the far right over here, this is the 30-minute chart. This is the 5-minute chart. This is the 1-minute chart. And on the far left here is the 10-second chart. And I don't trade the 10-second. It's not realistic to do that. The spreads are too thick. I mean, you can, but this kind of crackhead. I will trade the 1-minute chart though. And a lot of people would call that degen, except that I consistently win. So, degens are gamblers. They don't really have a system. They're just kind of willy-nilly taking trades. I have a system. So I actually can rely on statistical data. What I do here when you see me trade, I've gone through and tested it, and I understand the probabilities of me winning these trades. And right now, I'm winning. Let me see. Yesterday, I think I won like 6 out of 8 trades. I'd have to look at I have to look at my data, and my losses that I had were very, very small. Okay, so let me fix something here. There we go. The camera's acting funky. Okay, looking for that pullback. This pullback might take a few minutes. So, look, Let me put this on a different screen. Okay, it is on a different screen. Good. Give me a second to get organized here so we can take a look at what's happening in the news. And then I'm going to take a brief break when I go take a look at a cup of coffee. I'm going to start making coffee, so y'all get to just kind of watch the charts while that goes down. Let's add in just a little bit of music that I myself created. Let's see. Yeah, we'll add that in. Okay, are we already seeing our move down? I don't like this move down. It's too soon, according to my algos. I mean, I could take it, but there's something missing from this little push down here. Let me zoom in for you, but I can see what you mean. A lot of people be like, "Hey, it's moving back down. Take the short." Like, no, algos don't like it. And I have rules. Like, it might be that this trade actually goes down and I miss the trade, and that's fine. I've got rules, right? I gotta let my rules rule today. So let's do this. Let's go with be right back. Making coffee. Yeah, this day trading business is like, oh, looks like my screen froze. We'll fix that too. I've figured out why my screen was freezing, so that's good. Properties restart. All right, so there's the message on there. Be right back, making coffee. You guys can talk amongst yourselves. If this day trading thing, especially on like a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, I'll just be on here for hours at a time, just doing my thing, right? Very common. See how this continues up though? See how it's doing? It might even continue up higher, so I certainly have a little time. The making coffee thing is something that happens in doses, in phases, so let's look at the comment section. If anybody's like just watching, say hello, say hi in the comment section over in YouTube. It'd be great. Or Rumble or X. I think all the comments are read. Just love to hear from you. This show will grow. I only just started doing it this way, and we were a crypto channel for a while. I'll tell that story in a minute. I want to go start making coffee, so stand by. Be right back. Okay. I think we might be getting close to take this trade, but if I were to take this trade right now, it would be pretty high risk. I don't know that I can do that. It's a nice it's a nice rejection to the downside, certainly. We put a little timer on. Coffee's brewing. 1 second. Timer. Okay, we're gonna run a timer for the coffee. Yeah, I see how it popped down, but it's already grabbing back up. That's because we need to wait for some things. I mean, I probably could have sold this top. Obviously, I wasn't in the room, but there's certain conditions that I look for. And right now, it would be a high-risk trade, certainly. But we might also be seeing the beginning of a downside breakout. All right, so what does that mean? Well, I can't take this trade just yet because there's a good chance, based on the algos, based on the data you see at the bottom of the screen here, that it's going to pop back up and continue up. I can't short because I want to bet on the price going down, basically, right? I don't like to use the term bet, but language. And it may continue down, but there are certain conditions that I look for on the bottom of the screen here, especially on a little bit higher of a time frame. And those conditions have not yet occurred, and they will. So what may happen is either, like I talked about before, what I think will happen is price will kind of go sideways to up in this area, just kind of right here. It might even go down a bit, and then maybe a little higher, and then we'll get our move down. That's what I think will happen. There's always that chance we get a bit of a downside breakout. It's not acting like it'll do it right now, and we're getting closer and closer to the news, so it may be that, we don't see that, but we could see a downside breakout. And then I finally get my conditions like right here, and then I go short. So we're just kind of waiting on that. And again, it's all based on this screen right here. And what I see over here on the 1 minute is reflecting that that's probably going to happen. All right, so coffee is now ready. So if you'll allow me just a minute, I will go and blend some butter into it, and I will be back. Okay, got my coffee here. Now, I usually have 2 cups. Maybe I'll just make 2 cups from now on. I'm just ready to go. Be a complete coffee degen. Why not? All right, so yeah, we are looking at. This is day trading, guys. I know a lot of people said they wanted to watch me trade. Actually, like just do nothing but trade. And this is what it is. I was just waiting for the setup. So let's delete this. So we'll just continue to wait. I could have taken a small risk up here, but against the rules. We're looking at a nice low time frame head and shoulder setup, though. Kind of. Not very clean. Can't call it that. I mean, it's head and shoulders-ish, but it's not quite head and shoulders. So I've got my eye on this on another screen, and there are ways I can take this trade. It would have to be a very small entry, but because it does look like it wants to break out downside. I'm just watching it. It's also going to slow down a little bit prior to market open. And today's news. So I've got this on another screen. I'm monitoring it. So while we're doing the monitoring, we're going to look at what's happening in the news today. And okay, let's fix our deal here. So Friday the 16th is today. And at 10 a.m. EST is the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment, right? So, this is, I think they do it like once a month. And it's what it sounds like. It's gauging the sentiment of consumers. Are people buying stuff? Are they not buying stuff? Etc. So when that hits, and right before it hits, you see that red envelope right there? This is a red envelope event is what they call that. And so those will impact FX markets. They'll impact like all US markets and and even markets around the world, because most things are traded against the dollar. So, if you're trading right before this, like, we're algorithmic traders here at Algo Factory. Imagine that. Algo Factory. So when you trade algorithmically, what you do is you go back through time and you test things, right? You test your methodology and you see how price behaves based on things, based on technical things, based on everything you can see on the screen. And how price behaves when news hits is not predictable. Okay. So because news events are not predictable for price, that means I cannot rely on news events to determine what my profit could be. When I look back through time and I look at all the data, I can tell when a news event happens. Usually you see it on the chart and you can be like, okay, yeah, that's not something I can trade in a predictable sense. Some news hits harder than others. Even the same kind of news on 2 different days will hit differently because the day is different. It's not predictable. And so what I need is a system based on the data at the bottom of the screen, the data on the screen, and then that system, I can go back into historical charts, I can test it, and I can have a probability as to, okay, is this going to work or not, right? And when I have that probability, then I know. It's like, okay, if I hit the button this many times, chances are I'm going to win this many trades, I'm going to lose this many trades, and I'm going to win this much on this many trades, and I'm going to lose this much on this many trades. It's called expectancy. And you boil it down to a number. It's an average number that every time you enter a trade, you're going to make, for a small account, you're going to make $85 or something, right? It's great if you're going to trade a few times a day. I've had it where every time I click the button, it's going to be a lot more than that. And that's, of course, a more professional account. So, excuse me. So, because I have that, if I start trying to gamble on news events, it's going to mess up all my numbers, right? I'm not going to be able to have a predictable result. And then my confidence in my methodology is gone because I don't have the, I don't have the data. You got somebody in the private chat saying good morning. See, there it is. Now, this is why I didn't go short. Look at that. Technically, I could have taken this long, but it would be too, this is probably going to turn around and head back south, right? So, this, they kind of pop up like that. That's just a little bit of an impulse long, see? But that's why I didn't go short. I told you it was probably going to go long. Now, if I were purely a price action trader, 1 minute gambler, I could have taken the long at this support, but it's not the way I trade. I don't have data that tells me, oh, every time I do this, I'm going to make this much money. That's not how I trade, right? Now, if price does flip around and get bullish, then of course I can take advantage of that. But that's not what's going on with the high time frame. Now, I don't mind letting this wash out. The high time frame is looking like it wants to flip bearish. It already has in certain ways. So I just get to hang out and patiently let this can wash out. What's probably going to happen is this. You got a couple options. It's probably going to see how it's already reversing. Even my algo pinged. Now these algos, you see that red tab? That's my algo. I have it coded. But I got to wait for the candle to close. And even after the candle closes, sometimes it disappears. But usually by the time the candle closes, that thing's going to be almost always staying there. But the conditions I needed have been met. What I don't like is that I would be trading against all this support right here. So the conditions I needed for me to wait for a certain aspect of the trade, those have been more or less met. Like some conditions, not all. Now, if I can get a nice swing high and then the conditions get met, then there's room to take this trade, right? But if the conditions are all met way down here, no, I can't do that. There's no meat on the bone. This is in the 1 minute chart. The spreads are going to take all my profit. And it seems like right now, price is going to want to rotate possibly between these areas here. So I'm going to create a range right there. So if it can break out of that range and reverse down, that's one option. Or if it could break down, that's another option. Or there are some other things I can look for on the higher time frame chart that also can give me that option. Just kind of reading that right now, seeing if I can pull that off. Okay, what's going on here? Expanding some stuff. Yeah, it's getting there, but not quite. So we're like right there, though, getting real close. Technically, now that this algo has pinged, I could take it. But again, the problem is that there's so much support down here that I'm jumping into a shallow pool head first. Unwise. Sending a message to my private live lab people. Just stand by for a moment. All right. I'm going to change up the music a little bit. Yeah. And, so price is going to start slowing down a little bit here, probably because of the news that's coming out, but also because it needs to reset, which is what I want. So as price resets and kind of gathers up steam for the next move, that's an advantage for us. And this is something that I always say, like, if you look at the way price behaves, it's you have consolidations and then you have moves, right? So you kind of have to be patient through the consolidations, and then you get the move down here. Now this moves right into another consolidation, then you get a nice breakout downside. Consolidation breakout, a nice move down here, which I caught a lot of this, and then you get a consolidation. So, here's a real good example of like consolidation breakout, right? You had this kind of like a bunch of different strong moves yesterday, probably based on news, market open and whatnot, and then price kind of ground to a halt right around here. But then you have this nice breakout, nice trade to take right here. You have consolidation, then another breakout. So you can either trade inside the consolidations, which is possible. On the low time frame, not so much. But what you can do is just go to a higher time frame and trade those consolidations on the low. For example, I could go to the 30-minute here, and you can see the consolidation is one big consolidation here. But as it reaches the top and the bottom of these, I can trade that. On a lower time frame, it's going to look like breakouts. right? But on a higher time frame, it's just one big consolidation that goes back several days. So trading is one big fractal, right? That's how that works. And you know, Fridays tend to be slow. That's just Fridays. It's just trading. Might want to scalp along coming up here. Let's see how price behaves. Kind of risky to do so, but right now, let me come to the right screen so I can show you what I'm talking about. Right now, price is behaving like it wants to go long, but I'm skeptical about that. Let me take a quick look on my other screen at something here. Yeah, I'm getting kind of a non-signal here. So I think I'm going to stick to looking for shorts. Just going to have to be patient, folks. I could try to... I could grab a short and stop to entry as it reaches the bottom here. Let's see what the LTF looks like. LTF is low time frame. Yeah, it's Fridays do have low volatility. That's the unfortunate thing. You just kind of have to be very patient on Fridays. It is what it is. It's gonna have to let this play out for a bit. Yeah, okay, good. Glad I didn't make any decisions there. But you know what? All my decisions are made by the algos. Right, I just have to let the algos tell me what to do. That's the beauty of trading like this. So I'm gonna take the screen and put it to a... I'm changing the my other screens. I got a lot of screens. I'm changing them so I can watch what's going on while I'm talking to you all. And we're going to move into the news a bit and see if we can, just kind of glean what's going on until the trade setup happens, right? If it happens at all. Trade setup may never happen. I might sit here and watch it and then just like nothing happens. It fizzles out and it's just, okay, wasted day, right? No, it's not wasted. You just got to watch. Okay. Okay. So Goldman's buying gold. We'll take a look at gold. Futures are rising. Maybe we'll take a brief look at futures. We'll take a look at gold. Stock's probably firmer. Stale morning trade. Yeah, stale morning trade for sure. It's across the board. That's the 1 minute. I'm looking at the charts here briefly. All right. Yeah, just not seeing what I want to see on this. But we might get a good flip. We might get our move down. Let's jump back on the charts before we get too deep into looking at stocks and everything else. I'm starting to see a turnaround. So I might look for a little scalp here. Just gotta make sure there's enough meat on the bone. Let's start to see a flip in the right direction. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna ready a trade here. Let's see. I need some glasses, man. I need to zoom in my screen. There we go. It's better. All right. All right. I'm going to send some data to my Algo Factory people. Okay, can I take this? All right, so I'm getting ready to short this. It's going to be a pretty quick little scalp if I take it. I'm seeing what I need to see. You see a little move up here. Looking on the lower time frames. The higher time frames are showing that it's gonna break downward though. But still, we're right at that support. So I want to get a little move up if I can before I take that short. But it does want to fall. Just watching the far left of the screens here. You can see how, especially on the far left on that 10-second chart, it keeps heading up. But we're right at the time when I might be able to take that short. Just letting her play out. It's a bit of a high-risk short. But the algos are calling for it. Right there. Right there. Not quite, but we're there. Just gotta wait for the conditions. See, gotta be patient. Interesting. Market indecision. This is why we get patient. This is why we don't just jump into trades. But we're on the cusp. We're like right there. Yeah, let's see. There you go. Every move up is getting knocked down with extreme prejudice. We're getting that reset. Patience is paying off. Yep, see? Look at that. Remember I thought it would pop up? But that pop-up's going to be temporary. Still, the finger's on the trigger. Some ninjas wonder why. When you're trading on the minute, it's do or die. But we are so close. And this is retail moving these little tiny moves are, the big money's not playing in the market right now. But they will. Yeah, see how it's popping up? Look in the far left screens right there. If I had just panicked into that trade, I'd probably be losing that trade. We might even get a little bit of a pop up out of that local range. But I don't want to leave this screen right now. The rejection downside would be strong. But you see on the 5 minute here, you can see just kind of back and forth in that same range, but it's got a little bit of an upward tint to it. The lows are getting higher on the 1 minute. You can see right here. See, I wanted to go short. I even got a ping short, but look where I'd be. This is why I am the guy. Look at this. Higher lows. But it's going to flip around. I just got to watch all of the charts. Okay. And you can see that little green tap algo pings on the third pane over. These two right here, you can see them calling for longs, but that's probably going to be a Baskerville. It's probably going to be a false signal from what I'm seeing here. It's got to go through this move up before it can wash down. Technically, I'm at the top of a mini range. I could just short this. But that 5 minutes being rather obstinate. Let's see. Baskerville went away. The algo ping went away. This thing, it's going to go down. I can almost guarantee it. Just, I don't want to get caught on a little mini hyper day trade freaking bull trap. It's just not fun. Rule number one is conserve capital. Seriously, like you just conserve capital. That's the rule. Rule number one is, what did Buffett say? Rule number one, don't lose money. Rule number two, see rule number one. We're probably going to have to wait for a pretty good reset on this 5 minute. And remember now, we're past the point of, like market opens in less than an hour. So market open could affect things. But the charts, I mean, again, the news is at 8. So the volatility of market open might be minimized by the fact that there's a red envelope event at 10 a.m. EST, 8 my time. Let's see here. Okay. Continuing to respect structure on this 1 minute. See the structure right here. The only concern I have is those slightly higher lows reflected by some data on a higher time frame. But the data is always in flux. Some encouraging data on the 1 minute for the short, or on the 10 second, but that's the 10 second. That's data's a little slippery. But the general trend data on here is usable. Like I told people earlier, because a few more people have joined us, I don't trade on the 10 second, but I use it for the data. Okay, let's go ahead and enter this short. Let's see if we can gain a little money here. The data is where I need it to be to take the risk. Oops. See how that red tab pinged right after I entered? So I'm already front running my own algos. This red tab. Oops, wrong. We'll see if it have you. This could bounce up and go against me for sure. But little red tab entered right there. It's gone now. There it is. It's back. Remember, until the candle closes, these the algos are not that strong. But you'll see that red tab flashing back and forth. That's my algo. This is right on the edge of go or not. But this does continue to respect structure. And the overall trend is down. The concern I have is a lack of volatility right now, but I'm seeing what I need to see on the charts to take the risk. So we'll see if I get popped up. Yeah, I could get stopped out. It's possible. This little pop-up that you see right now, though, if that thing gets stuffed pretty hard, then we're good to go. If not, then I lost a trade, so what? Let's come back and take another. But I can tell you the volatility is dropping off. And as that happens, I mean, there's always the chance that it could drop back on. But my stop loss is above all this structure. And it's pretty tight. This is a very small trade due to the time of day, lack of volatility, all that stuff. This is a pretty small deal. So where would I look for targets? I'll be moving stops pretty aggressively. I have to go to a higher time frame for targets. Let's go look on here. Okay, so let's use our tools here. And let's actually back this up to the relevant structure. Okay. Okay. So far, so good. Price behaving as expected. I sent the stop loss and target data to Algo Factory for their educational purposes only. I'm going to modify the trade for the target. Okay, that's a nice trade. That's better than a 3-to-1. If it goes that far. We'll see. It's Friday. Friday's really trash for trading. Yeah, we were doing Friday, like Algo Factory Live Labs, and then I killed them because my trading results on Fridays are not that great. But I've already pulled some money out of the market this morning, so it's not like it's all bad. You just got to be very discerning in your trade choices. And the trade I took is high risk, but the algos call for it, so you can go in there with like a relatively small entry, but it's a great risk to reward if it can make it to target. It's probably going to be an algorithmic exit, though. It may not make it to target. I'll be very aggressive with stop moves, too. There's a good chance it'll just come back and grab stop at the entry, but you know what? If it wins, I pay bills. If I've already moved my stop to entry after all that, then, you know, then I don't lose any money. I just lost time. That's okay. Better to, you know, lose a little time and using that time as a chance to make money. I mean, shoot, anytime I lose a trade, I just look at that as anteing up. So I win a lot more trades than I lose. I'm doing it publicly in front of the clients here for a minute, for like the last, I mean, for years really, but just the day trading, these quick trades. Mostly this week, but it's going to continue. It's going to be what's on the menu. You get to continue to see me do it. But you got a lot of guys that, you know, they want to teach courses, and that's fine. So I teach courses. But what they don't do is they don't trade. They say they trade, but they don't. You know, or they're trading demo accounts. There's a particular guy who he puts these massive trades on YouTube, like millions of dollars and stuff. And me and some of the community think he's just running a demo account. That's fine. You know, gets him the eyes, gets him the views, you know, mazel tov or whatever. Congratulations. You have yourself a YouTube channel. But by the same token, you know, still a little bit of LARPing going on there. Okay, so I'm keeping it on the multi-panel screen, but I am going to flip over to the 3-panel, make it a little easier for people to see what's going on, and eventually we'll get to a 2-panel, and maybe even a 1-panel. But you see how price is continuing to reject at that top side. Well, now we're at the bottom of the local support. So let me go ahead and go to a 1-panel so I can show you the thought process here. Again, you know, basically playing the range right now. The safe thing to do would be as it breaks the bottom or even touches the bottom, I put the stop down at entry. It's kind of the safe way to go about it. I would like to see, and I think the algos are supporting this, I'd like to see it break below here. And if I can get below this support right here, or at least touch it, the stop will go to entry. It's going to protect my position. And that means that maybe the price comes up and grabs a stop and I don't lose any money, and so what? That's fine. You know, better to trade safe and then be gambly. And that's my system. You know, once price gets to a certain support level, especially in like a high risk scenario, whether it's a support or if it's a long, price is going up and it comes into a resistance, then that stop goes to entry, man. I don't give a flying fig Newton, man. It's just the deal. It's like price is headed up like this, and then I think it's going to head up and it's creating a consolidation. And I buy the bottom of this consolidation more or less. And I think price is going to head up and I'm trading based on that thesis. Then what'll happen is if I have this scenario, price, if it's a high risk scenario, price hits this or even breaks above it, stop goes to entry. If it comes back down and grabs a stop, so what? Take a trade again. You know, I didn't lose any money. You know, I got a pretty good algorithmic thesis though. Like price really wants to break down, but the volatility is so low that it's just having a problem getting out of this range. And also, when you see a range like this, price bouncing back and forth, like that tends to mean that bears and the bulls are kind of fighting it out on a low time frame. This is exactly what it means. It means the price has found like a stable level. This is like the price of things right now. Bulls and the bears agree. The bulls are buying the bottom in a small amount. Bears are selling the top at a small amount. Just goes back and forth. But at some point, that group of people who agree to the price being in this range, well, they're done buying and selling. You're not going to buy and sell here forever. And then you're going to have either some kind of a shock from the news, or you're going to have a higher time frame price consideration where, people are zooming out and they see the trend and like, okay, well, price is here for now, but we think price is going to go up, so we're going to buy it. And then when these short-term bears and bulls are done, then you'll have these kind of higher consideration, like higher time frame or more macro consideration, like buys and sells happen. And the more buys, price goes up. The more sells, price goes down. So we just gotta wait. I mean, it happened right here. It happens over and over and over, but you can see right here, it's the same thing happen. For a short time, for a good, 30 minutes or something, the bears and the bulls agreed, right? But then the bears got all the selling out that they wanted, and the bulls were not done yet. So they pushed price up to here. That's how that goes. This is going to break out. Now it might break top side. It might break bottom side. It's a little risky because we got this guy here. And as soon as this breaks down, stop goes to entry. No harm, no foul. The algo's support move down. Let's see. A lot of breakout traders, they will not trade until it's out of here, right? But this is such a small trade on a Friday where you kind of have to take these risks. So let's roll out now that we've done with the lesson here. I mean, it wants to go down, I can tell you that. But even though it wants to go down, you might still get a pop-up. There can still be like a, either a like a bull trap or a stop run, like all kinds of stuff. It doesn't matter how good your trading method is. Like shit can go against you. Like the market doesn't always go your way. And that's one of the problems I have with my engineer type traders. The engineer type traders, they I followed the method, but the trade didn't go the way I wanted it to. Like, well, yeah, not all trades win. That's just how it is. Market doesn't always go your way. There is an X factor to markets. And that doesn't even count like news and stuff like that. So, I mean, even now, like, look at it is not breaking down. It should break down according to algos. It wants to break down. But is there that chance that this could go past like my area here and stop me out? Yeah, sure. This sucker could just like go like this and then go boom and then go in my direction. That can happen. That's just part of the game, man. So what you do is, I mean, look, this thing could go in my direction. I could sell down here, which is another way to add to the trade. And then all of a sudden it goes like that and then down. That happens. It happens all the time. It's shady. Markets are shady, man. I mean, hate to break it to you, but markets are shadesky. This is, you just take your hits and you take the next trade, and one of them will win. Eventually they win if you have a good system. Look at that. It's already messing with me. Might be scaring people out of shorts. It could be as simple as the market just wants to go long now. Fridays. Let's see. You can tell on the low time frame, it actually looks like it wants to flip against me. I can tell you that. But this structure up here is pretty protective. Right, so let's see if I get murked. Let's see if this sucker goes up here and screws me over. It could. Looks like it's gonna. Oh, you little bastard. Let's see. It's on the edge. It's on the edge. Remember, it's in a range though. It's actually not the worst time to enter, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it right now. Range traders would be all over this. Range trader would be selling right now. They would have had their order ready at the top of the range. It would have automatically taken the order. That's range traders, man. They got some balls. Well, what they really have is a system. But a lot of range traders I know, they haven't really tested their system. They just wing it. This is pricier playing with people's emotions, man. Trading the chop is a bitch. So that's why the range traders rule. Oh, wait a minute. Here it goes. I'm gonna get the shaft here. Let's see. Is that a key moment? Even the range traders be sweating right now. Let's take a look here. We got the right turnaround on the very low time frame, but that's the very low time frame. That doesn't mean a whole lot. It's just data. And then we're getting to the point where we're getting close enough to the news where it's not going to be a reliable market. So probably when this trade's done, I'll probably be done. We'll take a look at gold. We'll take a look at some charts and stuff, but this one here looks like it's going to stop out. All right, stick with the plan. Let's go to my see where my stop is. Yeah, I got a little room, but it's probably going to stop out. Look like we're going to see some effery here. Let's see. It's also at a key moment where it could flip back around. Like I said, range traders, this is where they're buying right here. I mean, if you think about it, you got something flipping back and forth in a range. It's kind of the obvious thing. Sell the top, buy the bottom, sell the top. Buy the bottom, sell the top. And the range traders be selling that all day long. They don't care. They don't care what anything. They just, if they lose, they lose. Now on the 1 minute chart, you're going to deal with the spreads, so they probably wouldn't be touching this. But on a high time frame, there's a lot of money to be made like this because their stop losses at the top of the range are so tight. They just put their orders up here. Their stop loss is just above here, so they're getting easily 3-to-1s. Trading the range all day. You just got to know when it's going to be a range and when it's not. Usually it's when the range gets established after 1 or 2, 3 bumps. See how it's playing with people's emotions? Making people want to go long. But they don't have the algos. Let's see. It looks like it is going to flip and go down, but we're at a very delicate time. Yeah, delicate time indeed. We'll see. I'm going to go back to 4 panel so I can see the data. Yeah, data's still okay on the 4 panel. There are some issues. But this always was a risky trade. Hey man, Friday blues. What are you gonna do? This is why I don't trade Fridays a lot of days. I mean, I woke up, I was up extremely early and I caught a trade before I went live and I won it. So it's not a complete loss. Even if this trade stops out, I'll still be in profit for the day. Shit, I would have even done it live, except that I had to make new thumbnails for these videos. So I wasn't ready to go live. Okay, let's change the music. This is my Kurong Wanabin. Back when Udio would let me use Kurongbin as a reference. Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh. Okay, we got 7 o'clock on the hour. Man, this is really playing with people's emotions, though. This market's tripping people out right now. We're actually getting to a point where the short actually might make a lot more sense. See how it's, look at this. I'm gonna show y'all. Watch this. Just playing with people's emotions right now. It wants to go up. Oh, but it wants to go up. Oh, but it wants to go up. Oh. This is probably, I mean, it would be fortunate for me if this here was meant, because that was a fast move up. If this was meant to fill short-term shorts and scare people into going long, because then the shorts would have the liquidity they need to go short and make a little money. That's just how stuff is done. So the big money, I mean, this is a big market. FOREX has enough players in it to pull those kind of games, and and it makes sense on a low time frame. They do that and do this on the 1 minute time frame, and then they can go buy their yacht. And that's the kind of money that's in this market. It's kind of a moment of decision here for sure. I'd also call it a moment of annoyance. Fridays, man. Fridays blow. You say if this trade stops out, let's just go look at the news, and I might look for another trade or not, but you should start to get too close to the University of Michigan. God, I can't talk. You get too close to the University of Michigan event, and then the news just kind of goes flat. So ideally, we see how it's moving back down. It's just back and forth until it's not. So we can get a break below, we will. If not, if I start to see weakness down here, then I may just simply take a small profit on this trade and be done. This is getting way too close to the news. And it's pretty typical, like when you have a news data coming out, it's pretty typical to see the charts kind of foul up a little bit and get boring. Start to range back and forth. I mean, technically, I could be making money on this. Maybe I should start doing that, like on news days. Start like just whenever price gets boring before the news, just start flipping the range. I could make a fair amount of money doing that here. $50, $50, $50, $50. It's like $50 every 15 minutes. Let's see, from 4:55 a.m. to 5:05. It's every half hour. It's not bad. It's $200. Make yourself a couple $100 an hour. So that's the kind of stuff you could do when you have algos and you know the market, how markets behave. Okay, now we are back into profit. I'm gonna see how price behaves at the bottom of this. And I'm gonna kill it if it's not conducive. And just start, do what I was talking about. Start flipping that range. Okay, I'm readying the close position just so I can close it if we're getting so close to the news. I just got to kind of make a call on this. And then next time I will have everything ready earlier, because there was decent volatility on the New York London crossover. There's money to be made earlier, but I just didn't. I'm still kind of getting used to doing this pre-market stuff. So usually I haven't been doing it, but it is what's going to be going on. So I'll be starting a little earlier, grab some volatility even on shit days. We're still good for waiting a little bit on this. But I can see the volatility is just falling off a cliff. The algos are just wagging back and forth. Not getting consistent data right now. Which also means it tends to be on the verge of a breakout. And in this case, I would say downside. But it's being annoying. And that's why range traders are range traders and breakout traders are breakout traders. Breakout traders just sit and watch this until it breaks out. And it's kind of like people who, so there's like this sort of argument between trend and counter trend. Like, do you want to trade with the trend or you want to look for the reversals, right? And there's an argument that's like, you can't do both. You got to do one or the other. It's like there's a one camp versus the other camp kind of conversation. It's almost the same between range traders and trend traders. So either you got to do one or the other. See, I'm liking what I'm seeing in the algos. It is high risk, but I'm seeing something that tells me to stick with this, but it doesn't mean it's going to win. This means the probability is good. But we're sitting here looking at a market that's just really losing steam. So we're probably going to kill this next time it comes into profit and just call it a day. If it does come into profit, we'll see. It's all about looking for the lineup. I'd have to see a pretty big change in the algos for me to be interested in staying in this trade, because we got the news fouling it up. I mean, if I hung on to this trade through the news, it could push me into profit or not. Like, I could kind of go 50-50 on that. But again, that's not how I do things. Well, there we go. Didn't even get to the bottom of the range. That's annoying as hell. That's where I was gonna punch out. I was like slightly in a profit, but it's being stubborn. So next time, I'm just gonna clock out as soon as I'm at break even, or a slight profit, if there's a next time. All right, we're moving in the right direction. Yeah, the bulls are obstinate. Ooh, there's a nasty pop-up. There's one thing I've noticed, and it's hard to see on this screen, but you know, when the volatility completely dies off and there's no news event causing that, you'll notice the price start to flicker back and forth, because what's happened there is that the market essentially has reached an equilibrium and no one's playing. So a big player will come in and try to force price in a given direction, and another player might force it back. This is when you actually get to see the machinery of the market work. And when I see those flickers, it's like, okay, you know, there's a good chance market's going to choose a direction. Kind of just saw it, but I'm kind of over this business right now. So we head down to the bottom. I'm getting out. Take my little mini money and leave. Okay, we're headed there. Getting ready to close. If it goes without me, that's fine. I don't care. I'm kind of over watching this. Almost where I want to be. The algo's showing me what they want to show me, but they've been doing that for like the last 20 minutes. It's like it's showing me what I want to see. And you just keep me hanging on. Come on. Stop being stupid. Right there. Down is the way for now, though. Should start to buckle down. Oh, what annoyingness right now. Yeah, the volatility is so low that every single little move, or every little I mean, it was right there. Okay, we're headed to my exit here. Once the news hits at 10 o'clock, I may start to trade again, but I've got things I gotta do today. I gotta take the kids to the dentist and shit. I'll probably just... Fridays are just trash for trading. I know I keep saying that, and we're seeing it. Yeah, even the range is getting like tighter and tighter, so it's gearing up for something. But I think, like I said, the news is just kind of dampening things. If there was no news, I might be playing this a little differently, but right now it's just refusing to go outside of any of its local structure. Like, it keeps going in my direction and flipping back. It's just getting annoying. Give us a little bit of love here. All right. This is a painfully boring trade and annoying as hell. Well, this is like day trading. If I were just swing trading, I'd be in this trade. I'd go out and do stuff. I wouldn't even be watching. See, it keeps getting carried up to the top, which kind of bothers me a little bit. Like, it gets carried to the top, but it doesn't want to rush to the bottom. And the thing is, it wants to go down. Like I said, it makes me think that the big traders are wanting to fill up their shorts right now. And I am seeing a concern because I'm seeing higher lows and the highs aren't getting any lower, but the lows are getting higher. And it's always a concern when you're trying to go. Okay, seeing one thing in the algos will allow me to give this one more chance, otherwise I'm just gonna bounce. I think it's gonna stop me out now. We'll see if it can break above. Man, that was like torture. It just kept like taking me closer to my exit, but never quite making it there. I think it's gonna want to squeeze up here. It's right there. It's gonna squeeze up, sweep the tops, and then maybe head back down. We'll see about it. The candles are all saying the same shit. We have one bastion of defense though in the algos. This is where it's going to make its decision up or down for the short term. The range traders be all over this. They would have won the last time had they sold the top. But algos are looking like it's going to ping up and just stop me out, which is fine. And this is why I stopped doing Fridays. Stupid University of Michigan coming out with news, messing up my volatility. Still alive, but not for long. Yeah, this wants to break out. We'll see if it does. And that's it. Out of the trade. All right, well, that's going to be that. Yeah, Fridays blow. Fridays before news blow more. So let's just look at the broader picture here and see what we can glean. So any trading now is going to suck. Friday news, because I pulled, let me see, overall I won money today, but overall it was a winning day because I did take a pretty small chance on that particular trade. But given the volatility being so low, it's just they're going to jack price around and mess with people. I mean, there's like a good chance now that they've swept the highs here, that they're just going to take it back down. Right, run people stops, pretty typical stuff. But the range traders right here would have made a fortune. You got an established range, so you're going to be a range trader, right? So essentially at this point you got a pretty well established range, right? You maybe one more up. So just kind of reenacting. So once you see this heading up, then what you're going to do is you're going to look to short the top. And you just have your orders in already. Bam, you're in the trade. Right? Take your profit halfway, take your profit all the way down. Yep, you've taken your profit. And then here you went long. Right? And then you take your profit. And then here you went, maybe you got it, maybe you didn't. But here you went short, probably right about here, and you take your profit, right? So the range traders did nicely today, for sure. But seeing as the news is coming and the volatility is trash, see how they're taking it back down now? So they're just messing with people. right, that's it. Done for the morning. I'm getting too close to news to try to increase my profit. I had my profit slightly decreased by that last trade, but such is the deal. Thanks for watching. I think I may, well, like I said, on a news day like this, or even a Friday, I wouldn't do a Monday. I wouldn't do this on a Monday for sure. Fridays are pretty good if you're going to do the New York London crossover, right? So New York London crossover, London starts at 2 a.m. EST, and then New York starts at 7:30. So at 2 a.m. you get these big moves, right? And then 7:30 is only like 5 hours from that. So you can actually start partway through that session and you make yourself some nice money. That's a very popular thing to do, which is what I do, right? Because, you know, I'm not going to wake up at, 2 a.m. EST to try and trade, the London Open. I used to do that shit. But that's not healthy. There's physical health matters. So I stopped doing that. But I can go to bed early and I can get up early for the New York London crossover. But on a Friday, I don't mind doing it if there's no news. But if there is news, then, not interested. Because you can see what happens to volatility and they just kind of jack price around and everything's hard to read. And it's just, that's torturous. I don't know how many of you sat through that and watched it. It was terrible. Let's see. We got some comments in the chat. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's Lisa. That's I made that one. I made this on, I used Udio. Udio is like a AI music creator. This is pretty good stuff. But yeah, market open in 37 minutes. News shortly thereafter. I'll go ahead and go through some charts for you guys and gals, and that way you can see. We talked. Let's look at Bitcoin really quick. Everybody likes to look at Bitcoin. Not this, but I'm gonna go to a different chart. It looks like gold did what I thought it would do. I predicted this earlier this week. Called that pretty well. All right, so let's go to Bitcoin. And I didn't really do any predictions past like Tuesday because of the news cycle this week is very heavy. But it did more or less what I said. It headed in that direction. Look, Bitcoin's in a range, and it's going to continue to do so. As the news comes out, you might see some surprises, but it's essentially rocking back and forth between 101 and 105, really. So it's just going to do that until it doesn't. There's a fair amount of bullishness in the charts, but you're also going to see a potential move back. So I think we'll see price go sideways. It might even pop up a little bit, but I think it's going to end up heading down and retesting like 98, 99, if not lower. I think it's going to happen next week. Solana will follow. Solana will probably go back down to test anywhere from 150 to 140, if not lower. Could even go down. I don't think it's going to make it down to below 120, but it could. It just depends on how far and fast Bitcoin moves down. NASDAQ is strong. So NASDAQ is grinding up as I, kind of thought it would. The initial prediction that I did was only until Tuesday. So what do we see on that? Let's see how my prediction went. Okay. It just followed my more bullish path. And of course, I make those predictions on Sundays before a lot of news hits. So when the China news and everything else hit, the inflation numbers were small. The NASDAQ's just cracking up and cracking, being like a crackhead. And it's going to continue. I don't see any reason for NASDAQ to stop going up right now. And which is in the other kind of side of things going to push gold down because gold is an inflation hedge. And so because inflation is kind of mellowing out, the rest of the market's doing well, gold's going to pull back. Gold made its way all the way down to 3,100. I think you're going to see gold go to 3,000, if not 28. And I think it's going to take at least a couple weeks. But you don't want to count gold out, though. Gold can be pretty tricky. Gold can mess with you. So I think it's about it, though. Again, it's not much left. Look at this. Let's go back to the euro. That was a complete stop run, by the way. Let's go back to our original chart. This was a stop run. This was intended to stop guys like me out who were playing the game. Look at that. Right back into doing what I thought it would do, right? So, and that's what happens when you trade low volatility. It was a perfectly good trade, but now that the volatility is so low because it's Friday and news is coming out, big boys can mess around and do a little effery. I'd like to be the effery referee, but what can I say? Price got pushed up just to take guys like me out of the trade. That's fine. It's part of the game. That's why it was a small trade. Why did I hit it on that side? Let's just copy. Put it up here. Paste here. So yeah, and as the news comes out, I'm probably not going to mess around. Pretty much ahead for the day, so let's probably count my blessings. But yeah, you can see now look, this was they totally did it. Price wanted to go down, and it's going to go down now. So they rinsed guys like me out. And now price is going to go in my direction. Look at this. Ain't that a bitch? Look at that. They just needed to grab some stops, fill their shorts. Now they're going to go down. This was a textbook stop run. This is the big money messing with you. Because the price is supposed to go down. And all stop losses were above the range. This was an inducement trade as well, for sure. This was definitely an inducement trade. So they get you to trade by kind of playing with your emotions. And then once they can build enough people going short, because it's supposed to go down, because you're playing the game, right? You're just following the rules. Well, they put your stop losses up here, which is essentially what I did. And so they can, if you got people entering short, people going short, right? Well, they got enough people now to where they can push price up, grab your stops, and then go short. So this is like pure market effery. And that's just, you got to charge that shit to the game. Like, that's the way of things in markets. And now it's going to go, right? They just had to knock us out of our trades. And we don't really have like with crypto, which is even worse to trade, even more scammy. At least you have real-time data without having to pay $30,000 a month for a Bloomberg terminal, right? Like, you can actually see real data that is where the stops are and stuff, where the liquidations are anyway. Not so much with there's some approximators out there, like you can, I think, like what's that one? There's a product out there that I know Cool Cat uses. I forget what it's called, something book. And that one's pretty good at approximating like what's going on. Liquid book? No. It's something books. And it does a decent job of mapping where all these trades and stuff are. But now they're just playing with people right now. So news is it's market open. It's part of it. It's market open volatility. But news is in 30 minutes. So I wouldn't touch this shit. Wait till that news comes out. Then the market has to digest the news. I'd wait. When the news comes out, if I were still trading, I would wait at least 15 minutes. And then it's Friday. You'll get some volatility. It's market open volatility. So look at that. People went short. Now they're messing with them. Because there's not enough players in the market right now to push price around. The market open was definitely an event. Interesting study though. This is pretty much a textbook of what, you know, when a good trade goes bad. So this is part of the deal. I like watching this stuff though. I find it extremely interesting. That was also a 3-to-1. It's worth the risk. I could lose 3 of these in a row and win the 4th one and still be like break even. I could lose 2 of these in a row and win the 3rd one and still be 100% in profit. This is what happens when you design good trades. That's how that works. Now this is going to pop back up, even though it looks like it wants. I mean, it could continue down. It could, but I doubt it. I think it's just going to pop back up and start playing with people's emotions again until the news. That's what I expect. This thing's always like, thinks I'm in the wrong time zone. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. So I ain't nothing gonna happen for a while. I'll leave it to a vote in the comments section if you guys want me to like stick around and just watch what happens for the next 30 minutes or leave it going or whatever, then we can do that. You know, market's open, news is in less than 30 minutes. But I need at least a few people to pipe up in the comments section. Like, I need at least like 3 or 4 people to give me a vote, whether they want me to stay on or not. And there's not a lot of people watching. So, but yeah, you'll vote. I'll do whatever you vote. If you say continue to watch or continue to, you know, whatever, I'll do that. And if you guys, you know, say, nah, it's cool, you know, go about your business, you can go about your business, then that's what I'll do. These aren't the droids you're looking for. These aren't the droids we're looking for. You can go about your business. We can go about our business. Move along. Move along. Keep rolling, says Lisa Gray. Means I gotta find something to do for 25 minutes. Okay, we got another watcher, another viewer. Yeah, so we need some votes, guys and gals. You want me to continue? You got to let me know. See, look at that. Now we get a decision. Told you it wanted to go down. It's a trap, though. It's a trap. Morning, Cowboy. I'm on the laptop. About 10 minutes to join you. Okay, so Mick, do you want me to continue then? Oh yeah, look at that. Playing with people, man. Let's go on the 10-second chart so you can see them playing with people. Look at that. Spiked it down, scare people into shorting. Now they're back up. They're just messing with people right now. I love these bastards. See George Soros. We are going to take some money, yeah. That's not how he talks. It's like Klaus Schwab. I don't know how George Soros talks. I don't even know if he talks anymore. That guy's like, you know, I don't know if he is past the age where he can talk. Trying to be polite. But yeah, they're just messing with people right now. They're just taking outside the range, putting it back in. But anybody trading right now is asking for trouble. Ain't nobody, dude. No one's trading this shit at this point. It was good earlier. It had some pretty decent moves to play. Okay, so where is our gold news? Oh, we had some gold news. Okay, that's a premium article. The gold's on discount, if you ask me. Anything below like the high is gold on discount, if you ask me. Now we got Miko going to join in here soon. Not much in the news. Not much that we can use. You just have another 22 minutes until. I wouldn't touch anything, Mick, not until the news is out. It's looking like shit. It's looking like everything else. Just wait for the news. There ain't nothing good to say about trading on a Friday this close to news. You know, AUD's gonna head back down, but it's the question of whether or not. I mean, like, what I would be doing with AUD would be looking for little rallies and selling them on this. This is on the 5-minute chart, right? So I'd be selling rallies, man. Every rally's like getting stuffed. But at some point, it's going to pop up at some point, like on the 30-minute here. You're going to see it. Like, it might even happen soon because of where things are in the charts, right? Like, it's overall bearish, but you're going to get maybe a little down, and then it's going to pop up, and then it's going to head back down. So, but until the University of Michigan consumer sentiment in 21 minutes happens, I wouldn't be touching it. Yeah, Lisa. Yeah, no, gold was. I think I remember gold being, I don't know, below 200. Yeah, I mean, it actually peaked out and then it dropped. I think gold came back down to like 250 just before 9/11, if memory serves. I'm gonna take some supplements. I had some tests done. I looked at my testosterone, and I was just kind of, thinking maybe all the bad sleep and because I'm sleeping a lot better, meaning I'm actually purposefully making sure I get sleep rather than being a crackhead and trading the European session. And but having done that for a period of time, I was thinking maybe I screwed up my hormones, but did a testosterone test and it came back fine. Like, it came back quote unquote high. Now, what they call high and what's really high are two different things. The way that the medical stuff is, humans are just, especially in the US, are pretty weak. Mick, it's news. We got news coming out. University of Michigan sentiment. It's 10 a.m. EST. So it's in now 19 minutes. So until that 19 minutes is up, then the trading is going to be shit. And then as soon as they announce that news, depending on how strong that news is, it's going to be at least a few minutes before it's tradable. So we're just kind of sitting on our hands right now waiting for the news to come out. And then it's a Friday. So, Friday, the volatility is going to die anytime between right after the news and, halfway through the day. Fridays are shit. But I can yank money out of a Friday, and I'm kind of doing this so y'all can see me do my thing. And of course, in Algo Factory, if I see a pretty good trade, I'll share it. But at this point, I think on Mondays and Fridays with Algo Factory, if I do share the trade data, it's going to have to be a really solid trade. Tuesday, Thursday could be a little more risky. But we just sat and watched for an hour. The market makers screw with everybody and take their money, including mine, which is fine. They're still doing it. If you go back to the euro, watch this. They're just playing with people right now. And this is what they do. This is not a conspiracy. I mean, it's a conspiracy. It's not a theory. It's a conspiracy fact. They're just jacking price around, stopping people out, panicking long, panicking short. It's just this is what they do, especially on low volatility on Friday before news. This is really, like I said, I'm ahead on the day because I came in before things got too quiet. I came in on the London New York crossover, but in reality, it's not the day to trade for most people. It's just, I'm a different kind of a beast. But I don't mind taking a chance when news comes out. We'll just have to see how it behaves. But I might flip. I traded the Aussie yesterday, and it would have been okay, except for some factors. I won, but it was the trade was taking too long, and so I had to get out of the trade, because the market was going to close. I didn't want to hold the trade. I know you, Miko, you know this. I was pretty, I was calling it out play by play in Algo Factory, so you got to see it if you were watching. But long story short, I had to, I had to get out of the trade at a slight profit because the market was going to close. And then it was the right thing to do because once the market closes, there's no volatility. And they jacked price around and they knocked a bunch of people out of the trade. And then it went up like it was supposed to. And that all happened, let's see, right here. So I was in this trade for a long. This is on the 5-minute chart yesterday. So I was just, we'll review kind of what happened here yesterday. I was in this trade for long, and at one point I was in some nice profit, but it was gonna poke up, so I think I was something like this, and my target was probably right there. I probably had the right target. I'd have to look at the data, and I might have even made it through. I don't remember for my stop. I think it would have taken me out though, and the market closed, or at least was going to close back here. So actually I had been in this trade, and it was like this. I think that was my trade. Yep, there was a 3-to-1. Maybe a little bit tighter, but whatever the deal was, I had gotten in back here, I think, and I think couldn't be. I got in on this pop up right here, and then my stop was down here. This was essentially the trade. And the problem was that the market closed, and it popped into a little bit of profit after the market closed, right about here yesterday. Let me use an arrow right here. See, market close, 11, 15, 12, 1, 2. Yeah, okay, so it popped into profit right about here as the market was about to close. And you know what? I can't hold on to a trade through that kind of shitty volatility, because they'll jack price around, and that's exactly what they did. The market closed, spreads blew out, I was already out, I took a small profit, and then they crammed price down before it was supposed to go up. And it went up, and it went up to where I thought it was going to go. And my initial thought was to have my stop down here and just let it roll. But I don't hold trades through market close. I don't like to do that. It incurs fees. Not that they're big fees. I just don't like to do that. I'm like, I'll just jump in later. And then, you know, the evening happened and I didn't do that. You know, I got on a phone call and dinner, and, you know, so I'm really trying to limit like the day trading to the New York session. So I need to take a little bit better control of my time. But to look at the Aussie, yeah, I mean, it wants to plow down, and I think it's going to plow down. But at some point it will pop up, but it might just, it's going to be unpredictable as to when it does that until it starts to pop up. And then you might have a clue, but it's in a very precarious time, the Aussie. So it's going to want to grind down like you've just been seeing. Like it'll probably grind down, but the only thing that you kind of have a clue as far as when it might pop up are these structures down here. So as soon as it grinds to that structure, like if you can get yourself a nice rally and like sell into it, then my target would be down here by the structure. I have a trade that looks like this. You know, I don't know that it's going to happen like this, but that is the general idea, right? Something like this. You know, you can pull a decent little, oops, that's the inverse risk to reward. Short. So you can get yourself a little 2, 3, depending on where you enter and what your stops are and what kind of structure you use, and you know, stuff like that. Usually I'll let the rally be the structure. I'll let it kind of reverse and then jump on. So that's what happened yesterday. I mean, I made the right choice. I guess I could have like had a deeper stop and let it go, but again, I just have rules, and one of those rules is not to hold through a market close. 64226. Okay, so you're short like around here. Well, you're still in your short. Aussie 200 short. Yeah, you're short. You're decently in profit. I don't know where your stop is, but if you shorted like right here, if you got short right about there, I'm guessing could have been anywhere from like here to there though. But I'm guessing you either got short right here or you got short right here at this pop-up, which would have been, the pop-up would have been a sweet short, but I bet you got short back here. But then you would have been nearly asleep by then, so maybe you got short way back here. Well, no, you would have been awake. That's yeah, that would have been your morning. So you probably got short, you know, I'd say 4 or 5 hours ago, maybe. That'd be like your that'd be like your early afternoon. Could have been more like 8 hours ago you got short. We'll see. So anytime in here, basically, you could have got short, and you're in profit. And you know, it wants to plow down, but you could get a rally up. It wants to rally up. Even now, it kind of wants to, like, you see how it's starting to slow down, and it bounced against this structure right here. Yesterday's annoying bit right here. It's just a decent chance it's going to pop up, but it hasn't done it yet. And it could just be a quick rally and then back down. But it's a USD pair. News is in 10 minutes, so I probably would, you know, I might time my stops. I might either, in a thing like that with news coming out with a possible pop up, I personally would tighten my stops, or I would take profit, half of my profit off the table, and then tighten the stops. And it's just, I don't know what your trade looks like. I'm not able to manage your trade for you, but that's just what I would do as to news coming out. But yeah, no, I had my levels checked, and apparently my testosterone is relatively healthy for my age. Not doing any kind of, you know, TRT or nothing like that. Not even taking natural stuff. To start taking natural stuff, should put it a little bit higher. But there were some other like things I had to look at that were not a big deal, but just, you know, I'm a perfectionist. I want everything to be in line. So I'm gonna take my steps and be healthy here. Apparently my adrenals are a little overused. All manageable by diet. Not in any danger level. You can hear my son in the other room. He's awake. Okay, we got about 9 minutes till the news. We're just gonna hang back until that happens. All right, good to go. Just checking some stuff in the background. Letting that news count down. Yeah, I have the feeling that the news might pop this up. It wants to pop up already. See how it's already popping up? Even the algo's pinged. Yeah, high time frame, it is a little bearish, but it's kind of flattened out. Like if you look at the actual like weekly chart or daily chart, it's just bouncing back and forth. So what you have on the Aussie there is you've got a daily range. It's more or less here. You got a little bit of maybe some what's that called? Not a divergence, but well, when it gets out of the range, I can't think of the word for that. But it's more or less going to bounce around. So, but the news might pop it up a little bit. We'll see. It's a little bit of mixed market though on the euro. Kind of pain in the ass to trade right now. I mean, mixed market just means that you trade the smaller swings. When the news comes out, we'll see if we can come up with some solutions. But again, I would have to wait for the news to be digested. I don't just trade the news. What's your time zone, cowboy? Mountain. Mountain time zone. Not a big secret. I live out in them hills. Far enough away from population, but close enough not to be too far into the boonies. As much as I love people, I don't want to be around them in large numbers. All right. News comes in 4 minutes. Let's see what happens. Crowd is slowly growing. I like that. It's USD news, so it's going to affect any USD pair, and we're watching it, and it looks like the news is preparing for that. But I think it's just going to be messy. Go to a 5 panel. Yeah, it's just kind of proven to be a little messy this morning. That's fine. All right, you know. We'll stick to the euro for now. I've actually been gathering data this last week doing this kind of trading, the scalpy scalps, and I definitely have what are turning into some pretty decent stronger rules. So I have some exceptions I can make, but the more I trade the low time frame stuff and deal with all the noise, the more I'm sticking to some more firm rules and taking less risks. Okay, let's change the music. Let's go here. Put our trading news music on here. Okay. Getting right up on it. Good case. I had a couple of shows where my screen froze. I figured out what the problem was with that. So that's good. I was worried that my system was going bad. I had to change a couple things and it got better, but then I realized there's another thing that I was doing that was causing the freeze. Alright, so let me see, been at this for 2 hours. Made a little money before I got on just because I said I had to prep for this. Okay, so the news is coming out anytime. It might even already be out because we're seeing a move on the low time frame. The price is moving around. Might just be prepping for the news. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Pending. Let me just refresh. Pending. Well, the news is out, so the charts are going to move. Yeah, you can see them move in here, especially on the very low time frame, but it's not a lot of movement. I'm on the 1 minute chart, and it's pushing price up a little bit, up, down. This is where things get a little wacky. It just kind of starts to move around unpredictably. It'll move up, it'll move down. It'll scare people into going long, it'll scare people into going short. But if the news was kind of a nothing burger, then what you're going to see is a lot of money just coming into the market. So the consumer sentiment for Michigan was a little lower than expected, which would be good for the dollar, which would translate into the euro going up, and yet the euro is not going up. We didn't have an estimate for the other U of M. I mean, the other, whatever the other thing was. So the other one was the inflation expectations. So they didn't have an F forecast, they just had a number. 7.3% for what? Year over year? Let's see. Okay, so they're expecting year over year 7%. That's pretty high. I don't think it's going to happen like that at all. You'd be wrong. Previous was 6.5. So I think there's a lot of, the thing about it is that this is inflation expectations, but what they're doing is they're talking to 420 consumers. I mean, these are just consumers. What the hell do they know? I wouldn't really care about that number. But consumer sentiment does matter in a way. And the sentiment is low, consumer sentiment. So people are worried about the economy. And I don't know why these are like red envelope events, because it's just what people think, and people really are not educated, but it's fine. I mean, sentiment affects the market. So yeah, that explains it. Okay, so now we're going to start to get the downward movement that we were supposed to get before, right? In the euro, and it'll be the same in the Aussie probably if I go to Aussie. So remember I told you it was supposed to go down. Well, we're going to see. It is supposed to go down, but it's going to grind. So ideally, let's go back to our 4 panel. Yeah, that's going to head down, just like we thought. We just had to wait for the news. See? Now it's heading down, just like we thought it would. Could probably catch this, but what I'd rather do is look for a pullback. News still needs to be digested as well. It's a little early to be chasing these candles, but you get a long candle like that on consumer sentiment, like it's going to pop back up. It's probably going to kind of bait a few more people into going short, liquidate those shorts, come back down and head like this. Probably what's going to happen. That same thing, not as violent. The Aussie, your problem with the Aussie going short is you got this right here, big support, and you've got well, actually this might grind down, more of a grind than the euro. So what I would do is, I mean, that really was the rally, but I would be real careful shorting this right now and let the news pass, because if it goes below, then I'd sell a rally as long as the rally didn't go above here. If it goes below, and especially if it rallies only to like right here to 64084, I'd sell the daylights out of that, as long as it rejects heads down and Algo stays short. But the euro seems to be a little more like structurally sound. So like the nearest structure on the euro is all the way down here. Technically, if I were, less patient, I'd be in this shorting down to that. But I want to see a good solid pullback if I can. I think it's going to happen. It's happening right now. Really, look on the very low time frame. This is the not tradable for me, but it's already pulling back up. It's probably going to end up coming back down. And it's a Friday. I mean, you're getting a news bump, but that's going to fizzle out after not too long. So I won't be trading anything but super solid signals. So, and I know what that signal looks like. So I got to kind of hang back and wait for that. So there's not much to talk about right now, and I do need a bio break. So I'm just going to have you guys stand by for a bit, and I'll return to be back in a minute or two. See you shortly. Oh yeah. Yeah, pretty wild stuff here. Weird, wild stuff. Pretty low level movement. So exited Aussie, rest on break even. Aussie index stops, short now, JPY. Yeah, I mean, so JPY is always going to be affected by USD news because of the relationship between JPY and equities markets. Like the JPY is going to have some effect, but it should be a muted effect compared to, compared to other news. But you see, like I told you, if you're looking at the screen right now, you're going to see that you're going to see a lot of people probably panicked into that short, and they're getting jacked. This is Friday, man. This is why I don't do news. And it's moved. By the way, I don't have much more time than I can be on. I have some things I have to get to today. I'll take the kids to the dentist pretty early. But the volatility is so low that the kind of signals I need are not happening. The market opened, the news, it could push price where I need to, where I can, start to see a reason to trade, but and it's not happening yet. And it should be happening. It should be happening now. Like, it's a pretty weak Friday for anything. It's all right. I get to get on and talk to you guys and gals. And that's cool. I like talking to y'all. We got a few people watching. I like that too. This crowd needs to grow though. It's like, and I will share the occasional trade with the YouTubers, but the Algo Factory people get to see the trades. Not that they're supposed to trade them, but they get to see them. I start to see continuation here. Can't take the trade, unfortunately. All right. Yeah, no, these markets are dead, man. Nothing going on in these markets. Now, Fridays can have volatility. Okay, now you're starting to see the push. Technically, this is the trade to take, but it's against the scalping rules right now. But technically, the move down is the one to take. But the problem is, it's going to run into some trouble on the way down here. I can almost guarantee you're going to see it in the next 20 minutes. The only way that this works out is if it's a breakout downside, but there's just, even now with the news, there's no volatility in this market. You see, it's already starting to reject. See, it doesn't want to make it down past here. I think what you're going to see the rest of today is more of the people messing with things. Yep, see, already heading back up. Change the music a little bit. You might have to make a long medley track. Yeah. Okay, USD JPY showing a little more volatility. Let's see what we can. Yeah, see, it's just a hard to call anything in this market right now. I mean, little mini short could have caught, but that was too close to news. I wouldn't have caught that. And you're starting to see where it's going to want to flip around, even though it's headed up right here. there's a good chance it's going to reject up here, or even a little higher. Could reject at any of these areas and then start to head back down. But that was a nasty stop here. Like it wanted to go up, but you see when the news came out, it just yanked down and grabbed everybody's stop and headed up. This is why news is not the best to trade. It's just effery, man. And as much as I'd like to be the effery referee, they don't allow referees in this game unless you are a very important person. Good pop-up on the JPY though, very usable. Might be able to grab something out of this. Let's see what the higher time frame says though. Good pop-up, but it's going to get rejected. This would have, I mean, for my rules, would have been very hard to catch. You know, I think what we're going to see is people panicking into this long. Like I said earlier, I think it's going to reject pretty quick. Might go up a little more. They're going to induce trade, and it's going to grind up, and then down, up, and then down to fuck with people. Because it's mess with people Friday. JPY does have enough volatility for me to be interested, though the euro just doesn't right now. Let's take a look at our 4 panel. We'll watch for a little bit, but I gotta take off after not too long. It's Fridays, folks. It's just a nice day to talk. You know, if you, I know it's a long video. We covered what we think will happen with like gold and Bitcoin, and then, you know, I think Nasdaq's just going to continue up. I think gold is going to mellow out and maybe find a low around 3,000 to 2,800, maybe. I think the way right now with the JPY though, if I were to try to find a trade, if I had the time to sit and watch, probably going to go like this, and then it's probably going to head back up shortly. It might not go too far, but I think it's going to grind a little bit back down and find a low and pop up. So this is kind of the opposite of whatever trade we talked about before with the Aussie. Something along these lines. Look for some structure here, probably. And this is kind of very sloppy structure. Not a lot to rely on, so you might have to just rely on Fibonacci's and stuff, but this might be the JPY trade for anybody who's watching. But yeah, Fridays, man. USD CAD, messy. But this one might also be a good one to short. Same like the JPY. It just might take a while to get there. Or pull back and then long. But not. I would do the JPY instead of the CAD. CAD might consider just shorting when it starts to fall, but the USD JPY is far more bullish. The beast is bullish, but it's bullish low time frame. It's just, you know, it'll probably, it's kind of like gathering steam to head up, but it keeps getting rejected at the tops of this. Keeps getting rejected here at 193.60-ish. So if I were trying to long this, what I would do is look for a pullback after a rejection and long that, and then be out. So along the bottom of that. The thing about it, Miko, is that the USD JPY long was too close to news. So if you would have gotten into that long, then you'd be in trouble because the news would have maybe stopped you out. You know, I don't take trades before news. So the USD JPY long, maybe, you know, right after the news, you could catch it if you play games like that. But the reality is that this was a very risky thing to do, and mostly risky because of the news. So again, I think JPY, I think the opportunity is going to be, you know, the news will wear out, market open will wear out. You probably get one chance today where it comes back down and you can long it, and it might not go that far. You know, it might only like go to whatever here. So I think that's, but I wouldn't long it now. Not this far into the trade. I wouldn't touch it. AUD JPY, no volatility, wouldn't touch it. USD CHF is going to look like the opposite of the euro. So this is like low volatility like the euro. It keeps bouncing its head off the top here, where the euro keeps bouncing its head off the bottom here, but the euro is plowing down. We're starting to see a chance where I could grab along on the euro, maybe. Let me 4-panel this. But I don't know that I have the time to sit and deal with it. What I actually would be better off doing is what's probably going to happen with the euro right now. Like I mean, I know I've said this already, but it's getting to the point where now it's probably going to scoop up a bit, grab liquidity and head down. So grabbing the scoop up, the problem is the higher time frame is slightly bearish. It's also been flipping back bearish and bullish, but it really is bearish. Like higher time frame is just really bearish. So, you know, trying to be too clever, you know, I wouldn't advise being clever. So I'm trying to say, like, I just wait for the opportunity to arise. And, you know, the trade might just go without you. It's just go all the way down and you missed it. I mean, technically, if you're looking at the 1 minute, you did get the quick pullback. So you got, but you know, if you're playing breakouts, well, shit, you would have sold right there and then maybe you had a shit trade. And then you got your breakout here. You got one candle up, but now look, it's going back up. See? So I think we are going to see just that quick, you know, move up on the euro. I think that's coming up here in the next half hour. But on this time frame, I got to be done trading within like 20 minutes. So there's not a very good chance I'll be catching any of these. You know, there's I can just kind of call out what I think is going to happen, and I'll probably end the show. But it's going to grind down most likely. Like I can almost guarantee you, it's going to grind down. But you're going to get some moves up in the meantime. And how those moves up behave is going to tell us a little bit more about how it will grind down or not. You know, like if you get moves up and they behave like this, like it moves up. Oops, that's not, I don't want my arrow here. Let me zoom in also, by the way. So this is a 1 minute chart. It's extremely low time frame, right? But if you get moves up and they go like this, then it's probably going to break down. So you get these little moves up and it just keeps lower and lower and lower, then you're probably going to just get the breakdown. That's how that goes. Yeah, but Miko, like I told you, the USD JPY was a problem for the news. Trying to trade that before the news is probably going to get you in trouble. Like, and trying to trade it directly after the news is probably just as much trouble. Don't be greedy. Let the news happen. I mean, unless you have a tested way to consistently win playing the news, don't be greedy. Let the news happen. Don't be greedy, boy. Don't be greedy. I got JPY on a screen on top. And it's still actually technically JPY is a mixed market. You don't want to try to play mixed markets, man. The term for that is unwise. And then you will pay for your lack of vision. The EUR is actually kind of like a high time frame mixed market. So all the markets are mixed right now. And things are going to slow down. Like you're going to be able to get some decent little like scalps over the next month. Like, you know, and you will have moments of volatility. It's not like it's going to be dead. But a lot of people in like equities, they sell in May and go away. It's a done deal. It's just, you know, how they roll, man. So you might want to consider hanging back. Yeah, this is getting pretty much washed out, pretty much played out right now. And again, you know, markets are mixed. When, you know, if the 3 hour is mixed, I don't want to mess with it. You know, and those of you in Algo Factory know what I'm talking about when I say mixed market. Like USD JPY, still mixed on the 3 hour. You can play around on the 30 minute. It's not so mixed, right? But it's also overextended. 30 minute topside. So if the 3 hour were not mixed like it is, then I'd be like, okay, you know, take some more risks. but technically it's still mixed. It's just on the verge of not being mixed, but it's still mixed. So mixed markets are just unpredictable. Like they'll like told JPY was going to pull back. Well, look what's going on. It's a 5 minutes starting to pull back, right? What I said. So what I probably would do, since if you want to be a gambler, unless you have a good system, let it pull back. It's probably going to pull back to this structure, but it could get caught right here as well. But I think you're going to get a pretty shallow pullback, maybe not even reach this. You got all this right here also. It might only just like go to right here and then grab along. But if you don't have rules and you're just flying by the seat of your pants, and I wouldn't do anything. You need to have rules to trade, brother. You can't just willy-nilly do stuff. Well, yeah, but Mick, you didn't miss anything, though. That's the thing. You didn't miss anything, Mick, because if you took that trade that close to news, you're taking too many risks. I mean, unless you have developed a methodology where you can predict the kind of wins that you get on news events, where you can go back and trade every news event and know that you can win at least XYZ, then you probably shouldn't be taking that trade. I mean, I can't like give advice, but I can tell you I would never take that trade that close to news. I don't, there are guys I know who are able to have predictable results with news. They exist. They usually have really good tech, right? That's the thing. They usually have like really good tech. So, guys like that are few and far between though. Like they're like freaking 1 in 1,000, 1 in 100. And it's, well, let's just say this, as far as like traders go, they're like 1 in 1,000. As far as profitable traders go, they're like 1 in 10,000. It's just very uncommon. They'll tell you they're profitable. You know what I mean? But I only know like 1 or 2 guys that are profitable on news. And these are like freaking pro traders using high level shit. So I wouldn't touch anything around news. I'm not that greedy. I'll make my money on what I can predict, right? All right, so we're nearing the end of the show where I need to hop off and start getting ready to go. And I'm not seeing anything form up terribly quickly. It's just the Friday blues, man. It's the Friday blues. If I had like hours to sit here, I could probably yank some money out of the market a little more. But today is not the day for that. And, Mondays, maybe. Mondays I can kind of, after the market open on Mondays, I can kind of grab money out. One could try to enter right now to short this euro, but I wouldn't. It's against my rules. Is it? Let's see if it is really against my rules. Yeah, I mean it's almost meeting my rules, but I have one particular concern I don't like about this. If it weren't a Friday, but I've got a couple of actual concerns on this trade. One could try to kind of try to short this right here, and it's a decent R, but there's a problem with that. But if you were to do that, like the trade would look something like this, right? There's not a lot of meat on the bone, but there's enough for me, at least in my rules. Depending on where you put your stops, it could be like a 1.5 to 1 or a 1.3. So it's within the rules, but algorithmically there are issues. This thing could easily pop up. And they've been using the euro to mess with everybody today. So this could go down in a profit and then just yank you out. Because of the way that the algos are talking to me right now. But I expect just an ugly grind down. That's what I expect. We'll go look at the Aussie and we'll get out of here. There you go with the Aussie. Like I told you, you're just gonna have. I mean, I think it is starting to break down in earnest, But I think, like I told you, it's just going to grind down ugly. So you got to try to find, I mean, now is not a terrible time to short. I mean, I would be careful with that, but there's a particular rule that I'd be breaking to try to short this right now. So I'm just seeing nothing but landmines in the market. Shit, Friday. I don't even consider Friday a work day, like, for this kind of stuff. I'm just doing it just to do it. Like, I don't normally trade Fridays. There is no schedule. There's no early. There's no late. I just chose to get on today. Tuesday through Thursday are the days where I agreed, to do like the private live labs and to trade in earnest and stuff like that. But as it stands, like, I have been able to yank money out of Fridays. But if I didn't have to, go deal with the IRL stuff, I'd still be on, and I would have the time to look for like a good, decent trade. But right tonight, it not look good. Doesn't look good. Good. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you all for watching. And I may or may not do Monday. If I did Monday, it would be after market open. So good chance I won't do Mondays, but Tuesday through Thursday is what I do. Just because those are the best days to trade, especially FX markets. You don't get market weekly open or weekly close crap. But you know what? If there's no news, I'll start these pretty early. If there's no news, like if there's no big news, like Thursdays, I'll probably rarely start terribly early on Thursdays. It depends on the news. But like Tuesday through Thursday, there's a good chance I'll be starting at like 6 a.m. EST and just getting on pre-market, going through the trades and stuff. But Mondays no, Fridays maybe. Fridays I'll trade the crossover. This would be like super early. So thank you all for watching. I'm going to catch you next time. Like, subscribe, get your free algo, links in the description. Get my finger pointed in the right direction right there. Send us your email. Next page, as soon as you click OK, is an algo. All right, much love. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.